You know, I get a lot of comments from people asking why I get so worked up about some of this smartphone stuff, why I'm so disappointed in the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra this year. And the reason is phones like this. This is the Xiaomi 15 Ultra Global Edition, just announced for sale. I've been using it for about a month, and I have to tell you, it's an absolutely fantastic phone. And if you're going to name something the Ultra, it better have Ultra features, and it better give me an Ultra experience. And this phone absolutely does. Let's pull around the camera and talk about it. All right, it's the Xiaomi 15 Ultra Global version. What a just fantastic, fantastic phone. This is a monster. We'll talk about a lot of different things with it that I absolutely love. I don't know the price right off the bat. I'll put it in the description. I do know it's going to be around the Galaxy S25 Ultra-esque money. Figure $1,300, $1,400 is going to be euros involved. It's a global version, so you're going to be looking at European prices. You could probably import one on giztop.com, something like that, where you normally pick up imports. I've had no problem for the last month or so using it on T-Mobile. I've had good service. I've had 5G speeds. I've had no issues. You got to check your bands, though. Understand that AT&T and them are going to be finicky about phones like this, so just be careful before you go ahead and get one. But if you're able to get one, boy, there's a lot worse places you can spend your $1,300, $1,400 on a flagship smartphone. And I absolutely meant that if you're going to have a phone named Ultra, then you have to give me some features that make me feel like I'm using an Ultra device. And you can see what the Xiaomi 15 Ultra does to give me that feeling front and center. And I don't normally talk about camera stuff a lot. I don't normally focus on it, but boy, you have to with this camera, and boy, you have to with this phone, and you want to. This is the type of phone, when you pick up and start taking photos, and you look at the outputs, that you purposely go out of your way to start taking photos. If you're not a shutterbug already, and you own one of these, you'll become one. I promise you that. And every person that I've showed this phone to, and every person that has taken a photo and looked at the results has been absolutely floored by the clarity and the depth and the quality of the images. And then they look at their phone, whatever they have in their pocket, whether it's a Pixel or a Galaxy, and wonder why they can't get that here. And boy, that's my question too. So let's start with those cameras. 50 megapixel main sensor, that's the 1-inch sensor. Larger sensor, more data, it's pulling in more light. More light means a sharper image, means a better image. It's just a phenomenal, phenomenal sensor, and you get great photos from it. 50 megapixel floating telephoto, 200 megapixel periscope telephoto zoom lens. Great images. We're gonna show you an image from there, a woodpecker I captured outside. Just an absolutely gorgeous, and why you'd want a sensor, you know, Xiaomi claims it's 130% more light or something than the Xiaomi 14 Ultra. Why you'd want a higher megapixel, higher resolution sensor on a telephoto is you don't want that degradation of the photo. You don't want the colors to get softer. You don't want the images to get softer. So many times when you kind of swap between the main sensor and the telephoto lens on some of these phones, you get an immediate drop and the photos just don't look as good, and you're trying to capture a zoom as it is, and it just gets difficult. And then there's the 50 megapixel ultra wide to round out. Then you have the Leica stuff on here. So let's go ahead and throw up some shots. Really great stuff. This is a very dark restaurant. I love how it handles night photography. Brilliant shot. Doesn't blow out any of the light sources. Great detail. I didn't even have to hold it for that. I don't even think this photo required me to hold it at all for any length of time. Just a really, really nice photo. You got this one here. I've got some ice cold apple cider here. But you can see the natural depth effect, the natural bokeh image on there. Really sharp, really crisp, also poorly lit. You can see some of these photos here. Just phenomenal color, phenomenal depth. The saturation is good. Nothing gets blown out. It's everything you'd expect from a next generation camera. And boy, you get it with the Xiaomi 15 Ultra. Just phenomenal photos. And then you can see this guy. This is at 30x, okay? 30x, and you can see that kind of detail on this woodpecker from outside my bedroom window, at least 100, maybe 150 feet away. Just phenomenal imagery on this phone. If you're somebody who's serious about your photography, it's like you're carrying a DSLR around in your pocket with that 1-inch sensor, and it feels like that, and you get the result. So let's talk about the rest of the phone, because you're not just buying a camera, you're buying a phone. And this is a just phenomenal thing. We're going to look at the camera app in a moment when we get to the software, because there's some stuff in there as well. But I want to talk about what you get with the package. 6.73-inch display. To me, that's the perfect size. I complained when these displays went to 6.8 inches, 6.9 inches. I think that gets a little wonky in the hand. I really like this display. It's nice. Quad HD plus, 120 hertz, all the flagship specs that you'd expect. It's not completely flat. You do have the little curving there, but it's kind of like that 2.5D glass effect that you get on the OnePlus 13. So it's really nice. It doesn't, I hate curved displays. I don't hate this display. It's really nice. Aluminum frame, feels good in the hand, premium, just a really solid construction all around, IP68, dust and water resistant. So you have that here, and you have the aluminum band. So you have that as well. Just an overall fantastic construction. Under the hood, everything you'd expect from an Ultra device, right? Everything you'd expect. Snapdragon 8 Elite, 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of storage. You can get a 1 terabyte version as well. You've got a 5,500 milliamp hour silicon carbide battery, 90 watt fast charging, wire charging, 80 watt, and I'm sure that requires some sort of special charger, 80 watt wireless charging. Battery life is phenomenal. Full 2-day battery life without breaking a sweat. I've had no issues with battery life on this. Battery drain is non-existent. I've literally intentionally left this off the charger, not worrying about it, picked it up the next day. I was at like 65, 70%, ripped through the entire next day, and that was really using it. Really using the display, really using the cameras, the zoom, some of the AI stuff. It's basic, you know, I'm not big into AI, but I use some of it. But just a phenomenal, phenomenal device with great battery life and great performance. It's not overly heavy either. 226 grams, something like that. But the weight distribution isn't bad, even with that big camera hump. Yes, it's a little top heavy, yes. But for me, the camera hump falls perfectly on the phone. See how it's towards the top? I can put my finger right there, get good support on it, and it's almost like one of those pop sockets or one of those rings that come out. I get really good support on this particular phone. I love it. It's just a really nice phone to use. The performance is snappy, and the software is good. You know, I've gotten on overseas software before because of the support, which has changed. You know, Xiaomi, I think, is offering, I forget what the number is going to be, but it's going to be a big number on here as far as software support. You're talking multiple years of software support. So that's less of an issue as it used to be. MIUI got a little wonky sometimes. HyperOS 2, Android 15, is running really well. And the thing, it's small little things that make me really enjoy the software. Every phone that I have that has the swipe down, the split swipe down for either the notifications or the quick settings, I turn it off. I turn it off. I do not do that on here. You want to know why? Let me make sure I could take this off here. Because they added a small visual cue, so I know exactly where I'm pulling down from. So if I need this, see how the animation comes from the left side of the screen and then goes back to the left side of the screen. If I want the toggles, they swipe down like that. So my brain isn't confused. When I swipe down at some point in the screen and just get it straight from the center like I do on One UI 7 or iOS or any of the other softwares, I get thrown off and it just annoys me and I turn it off. That little, as silly as it sounds, that little visual cue allows me to enjoy the split notifications, and it's great. And it's just those little attention to detail things that really have me liking HyperOS 2. And it's smooth. I don't get lag. It's silky smooth. The animations are great. It's just an overall fantastic experience running on Android 15. So while I would worry about Xiaomi in the past, if we're talking like 2 years of support or something like that, you're not getting that anymore. You're getting more years of support. I believe it's going to be 6 or 7. Don't quote me on that, but it's going to be more than a couple years. It's going to be worthy of at least the money that they're charging for this particular device. And now that you have that Snapdragon 8 Elite under the hood, you got a great battery, you got a great design. There's a lot to like about this particular device. So not only do you have the flagship performance, you got a flagship build, you got a solid software experience, gorgeous display, flagship battery, cutting edge, all those things that you'd want for that kind of money. So when I jump up and down and say, boy, how is it this hard to whatever, these are the devices that I'm talking about. Now, Xiaomi did send this along for review. It was interesting timing, though, because I think I put in another video that I was thinking of looking at overseas devices because Samsung kind of annoyed me that much. But this is just a really, it's not paid review or anything like that, and they don't have any sort of editorial control over what's said. Never the case here. But this is just a fantastic, fantastic, fantastic device and phone. And I think if you have the opportunity, if you're an enthusiast who knows what they're doing, okay, that's a big point, and you're on T-Mobile, this is certainly a phone that you're going to want to look at if you just love using smartphones. Then they have, we're going to reach over and get it, this is the Legacy Photography Kit. So basically, this could be threaded. You can unscrew this and you could fix a lens here. Or you could screw on another lens to the top here. But what you can also do, this, a little bulky, right? It's a 2,000 milliamp hour battery pack. And you can see the controls on the top. So basically what you do is you slide this together, clip it into place, and you've got yourself a little setup where you can use this like a DSLR. This is a little metal part that your thumb could go against so you're not hitting the touch screen. This at the top is a shutter, so you can kind of go ahead and press the shutter in. There's also some customizable little screw top shutter bits that you can put in here that you can press down. You have like a regular camcorder. You have kind of the zoom back and forth here. You have video, and then you have exposure that you can go back and forth. Just a really cool accessory. And then when you're done, or you want to put this in your pocket or your bag, this functions like a regular case, and a really nice case at that. It's really nice premium. You get the metal kind of a ring there for the camera. Just an overall fantastic experience, and this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about a flagship. This is what I'm talking about when you're spending $1,300, $1,400 on a phone. You want an extreme experience. You want something different. You want something that feels cutting edge in your hand, that gives you a wow factor every time you use it, and that's this camera on this particular device. So, that's this one. There's also the review of this guy coming up a little later in the week. And wow, this is a lot of fun as well. We got to shine. We got to make sure to not get the fingerprints on this because a mirror finish. This is a phenomenal, phenomenal phone as well. We're going to talk about this one a little bit later in the week with the Xiaomi 15 Ultra. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day.